Hey everybody, I'm here with my Pfaff 545 walking foot machine. This is a 545 H4 Pfaff walking foot, and today I'm going to show you how to make these ID card holders that are made using some clear sailboat windshield type stuff, and it comes with a pocket for your ID and then a second pocket on the back. And I am using upholstery leather samples that come with this grommet already attached. So I'm going to show you how I'm making these, trying to do them as quickly as possible and use all of the leather that comes on the scrap. Okay, so hang on for the how-to video. Okay, so this is my upholstery leather sample. It's a first quality sample, and I get these free from a place that sells this type of leather as a custom upholstery or custom furniture place. So the first thing I do is rip off the tag. Sorry about that, the dog was barking. So I take the tag off, and then I'm going to use the grommet. But after taking the tag off, I've got a little sticky residue here. So I've used a cottage cheese lid, and I've drawn this stencil, which I know is the right size for an ID badge. I take a silver Sharpie and I trace around it. The silver Sharpie I found works really great because if you kind of mess up, you can get it off with a little rubbing alcohol, and it doesn't stain your fabric the way a black one would. So I'm just gonna draw my outline here, and then I'm gonna cut it out. Sorry. Hopefully you guys can see this. So I'm cutting on the outside of my line. It did take me a little while to figure out what is the right, size for this, but once you see how I do this, it'll make sense. Fold it in half, and I start my cut here, right along the line, and I'll go around on the inside. Just using a pair of regular scissors here. These are like Fiskars, I don't know, probably 8-inch shears. So I ordered this clear windshield material from Sailrite. It's actually really thick. This is what it looks like. It's actually, I think, almost thicker than the upholstery leather, to be honest. And I'm hoping that it gives these a lot of strength, because what I was missing was the strength in the other clear plastic I was using. So I'm using a glue roller, and I've done a few of these. So I try to put the glue on the outside. Sometimes it doesn't come out very well because of the suede back. Just try to get enough. Then I'm going to take a square. This is a 4-inch by 3 1/8, and I put it on here as high up to the opening in the grommet as possible. I'm going to glue that down, and I'm going to take my leftover piece from the scrap. I'm going to cut it in half, and then I'm going to cut out this little thumb hole. Try to do this in one cut. I'm going to put some double stick tape on the sides of the clear window. I'm going to take my piece and put it down, and I put it down so that I'm not covered, just even with the top of that. Make sure it's lined up. And put some more double stick tape on. Sometimes it doesn't like to stick. Like I said, do the best you can. It's not going to show. I was having a problem where the edges here were getting caught when I turned it, so sometimes I put a little extra double stick tape on the edge. I put this on like this. Okay, and now I'm going to go over and sew, and I use the silver as a guide. So hang on, I'm going to go over to the machine. We'll sew this down. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see this. I'm sorry, it's not the best camera angle. I just finished sewing this one and it's still attached. So I'm gonna put the one I just cut and glued together under here. And I've designed this so that my walking foot, I have the edge of the cut as a guide, and I just stay inside the silver. And I just start somewhere on the bottom, and I just start going, and I try to stay inside the silver. And I'm turning the wheel by hand now, trying to get at the end of the thing. And I'm sorry if the camera's wiggling a little bit because I'm sewing. I'm just going to sew on down this side now, just trying to stay inside the line. And then I go towards the end, and I go as close to the end as possible. I can do a full stitch there. That's good. I'm going to turn. I'm going to come down this side, try not to hit the metal. I'm using the edge of the foot and the edge of the leather as a guide. Okay. And I turn to get in the end as best as possible. It doesn't always line up. If it's not far enough, I'm going to turn by hand and do like a tiny stitch. I'm lifting the foot up with my knee presser now. Finish a stitch, have the needle on the way up, and I turn to the front. And right now, when I turn to the front, I'm going to cut this thread here that was the starter thread. And I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to pull the bottom one. Then I have this Cricut picking tool for my cutter. I pull that out. You'll see why I do that in a second. And then I'm going to come on down this side, trying to stay inside the silver line. I'm using a 1 horsepower servo motor. I'm now turning by hand the last stitch, raising the foot with my knee to get it in the right place. Then I reach under those 2 threads that I just pulled out, and I'm pulling them out to the side here. Okay, that just makes it easier to finish it. And I come down here, and I try to get it back into one of the holes of the stitching that I just made, so I have to make a short stitch. Then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches, and we're done. And then I pull it out. I make sure that the take-up lever on the machine is raised to the top, and I pull it out. And I get my next piece, and I stick it under. Okay. So I'm gonna just start my next piece. That way I don't have to cut and stop and start all the time. I do take some care to try to line up my stitches so when I turn, I'm in line with the silver or the cut edge. I'm just doing this second one here so you can see how I finish the one that we just started. Sorry if the phone's wiggling a little bit. I know it vibrates with the sewing. I need a tiny little stitch at the end to line up. Needle on the way up. Rotate, make sure the end's under. And now I'm at the end where I'm going to cut this off. I turn it over. I pull this thread. I pull this out. And I cut these off very close. My scissors are getting, my nippers are getting dull. I take my lighter, I burn the ends, flatten it out, burn the ends, flatten it out. Now we're ready to trim the piece. Okay, so hang on a minute. Okay, so I got these scissors off Amazon some time ago. They're Ginger something, and you can see they're like over 10 inches long. Okay, 11 inches long, and the blade part is about 5 inches long. I'm not sure which ones I bought, but I think they're around about $50. So I'm just going to come in here, and I'm just going to cut this on the inside of the silver line. These scissors are great. They can cut through like 8 layers of fleece. I use them for pretty much all my leather work because they're just, I feel they're a lot safer than those semicircle knives. I'm going to trim the end. I'm going to trim this end. And I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to just take the corner off so it's not sharp. And we're done. And that is, sorry if you guys can see that, that is an ID badge. You can put your ID in this part and $1 for the Coke machine or something. The stitching holds the clear plastic on, and I made some of these before. I made a bunch of them and gave them away, but I used like clear report cover plastic and it always tore. So you can see, sorry, just grabbing this. This is the clear window stuff that I got from Sailrite. I'll post a still of what it is, but it appears that it's really strong. And so I think that this will be a great thing, again, made from free upholstery leather samples, but you can see it makes a very nice ID patch, and it comes with the grommets already in them. So that's what I am doing today, is just trying to make a bunch of these, and I try to do them all together at once. Okay, thanks for watching.